Do you have any more superlatives about your tight end and about how valuable he is to this team?
I mean, I don't know if any come to mind, but I think obviously you can see how many ways we got him involved today, run game wise, pass game wise, and even some of our option stuff. So, I mean, we just try to get him involved in the game plan as much as we can because we know what the type of player he is and how much he helps our offense just generate explosive plays in general. But I mean, I think we got a lot of guys involved today, and that was a real positive. Like the ball was being spread around a pretty fair amount. If I had to guess, I haven't looked at any stats yet.
Do you think that's the best first half you guys have played as a team?
For sure. I mean, having 4 drives and scoring on all drives in different facets. So like end of the half, 2-minute drive, and then we had to score right before that. We scored 14 points in the first part of the middle 8, and that's a credit to the defense too, getting us the ball back with a lot of time and still having 2 timeouts, giving us plenty of time to work with and having the luxury of having timeouts. So I mean, I think we just played really good complementary football in the first half, and second half could have been better for sure. It just came down to little things on the first 2 drives, but I think we did a good job of bouncing back right after that.
How important was that? It's one thing, Drew, to think that you're going to be resilient, but to go out and show it. Can you just say what that means for this team moving forward?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of we've shown it all year in different ways.
After a loss is a little bit different, isn't it? Or no?
Honestly, we were looking forward to the opportunity to come out, play in the whiteout, and play football. At the end of the game, at the end of the day, we enjoyed it. But I mean, like you said, it is adversity that we faced coming off of last week. But again, it's just another form of adversity, and it's about how we respond to that adversity is what defines us as a team.
Why was it so good at the beginning of this week? Is there anything you point to?
I think it comes down to execution. I mean, I believe in our game plan every week. I think there hasn't been a week this year where I've doubted the game plan going into the game. But we just came out and really started fast and executed the plays that we needed, that Coach K called, and took advantage of our opportunities when we got down into the red zone.
Drew, finding Julian for the touchdown, obviously, and also hitting Trey as many times as you do.
Yeah.
How important was that to get the wide receivers involved tonight?
Very important because, again, like I know I said earlier this week, like the receivers make a ton of plays throughout games. And again, they get a lot of criticism, but I mean, I don't think it's fair at all. Like we had Julian show up on the touchdown today. Trey had a really good game. Liam had a big time catch down the seam. So I mean, they played really well today, and what's not going to get noticed is how well they blocked on the perimeter. And they do a lot of the dirty work, and obviously they all want stats. We all want stats at the end of the day, but they're doing the necessary stuff to help us play really good team football and win games.
What was Coach K's message leading up to this one?
Can you say that again?
What was Coach K's message leading up to this game?
Just getting back to the basics. I think we had a really good week of preparation. That was one of our goals as an offense this week, to have a great week of prep. And honestly, that goes out to shout out to the D squad. Like they're giving us unbelievable looks right now, making it very game realistic for me, giving me really good looks, and that helps everybody overall. And again, at the end of the day, it comes down to execution. And I think this week we did a really good job of being very intentional about that, executing the play calls that are called, and then just capitalizing on those moments that we get those plays called. And I think we did a great job of that throughout the week, and then it showed up today.
Drew, earlier this week, you talked about the vertical pass game and what you guys needed to do better, maybe on first and second down to set up some of those splash plays. Just what was working well for you offensively that allowed you to find all those receivers for big gains?
Yeah, I mean, I think it comes down to the number of plays. Like, I know the last drive I was in, it was a 16-play drive. So if you have 16 opportunities to call plays on that drive, a lot of people are going to get to touch the ball, and that goes for the rest of our drives too. Like we had a couple 9-play drives in the first half that were scoring touchdowns. So again, we were staying ahead of the sticks, staying on time in the pass game. And the O-line did a really good job of, getting movement going against their D tackles and D ends in the run game to allow Nick and Fat to get to work too. So again, it comes down to just being in an advantage for the offense. Like we were in third and controllable, third and manageable the whole game. I felt like there wasn't. Maybe it was like 1 or 2 third and longs, but other than that, it was like all third and 4 to 6. So, if we're able to get into that range, we'll be successful just because of the game plan we have. And again, I think we did a good job of getting first downs on first and second down today.
Drew, would you say that what happened last week led to this to you coming out with mainstream this week?
No, I mean, I think at the end of the day, we want to come out and start fast every week. That's a point of our game plan every week, no matter the opponent, no matter the time of the year. So I think we just came out and had a really good start to the game in the first quarter, and then it carried over into the second quarter as well.
Is that the best half?
Go ahead, you're good.
Is that the best half of football you think this offense has played all season?
Yeah, I think it's the best complete half. Like, we've had our moments this year, but I think we really put it together in that first half. And again, I mean, the second half, I think we would have done better things again, but we just obviously the turnover happened, and then we were driving down the field, and then obviously they called that one play incomplete. But other than that, we were scoring on every drive. So it was just two things today. And obviously we'll get those things cleaned up, but we had a really good execution day overall.
How much fun is it playing with Ty Warren out there? I mean, and just all those things that he can do.
Yeah, I mean, we're super creative on offense. I think you've seen that in many different ways throughout the year, and obviously he's our best playmaker on offense and the best tight end in the country, and we're going to get him involved in the game somehow, in some way, in some form of capacity. Today he was running a little bit down in the goal line, and then getting him some shovel option tosses, and then just getting him easy completions, and then he's hard to bring down. There wasn't many cases where one guy brought him down today.
When you have a night game like this, do you guys watch the craziness that's going on around college football, or are you just zeroed in on this game?
A little bit of both, because we get a little bit of downtime throughout the day, and I'll sit around with a couple teammates and watch some ball and kind of just look at our game plan. But we try to stay busy throughout the day with walkthroughs and things like that. But yeah, I mean, anytime we get a chance to watch football, we're pretty much watching football.
Thanks, Drew.
Going back to Tyler Ward, did you notice defenses playing him a little bit differently now, maybe doubling him more often or things like that, or scheming differently?
I wouldn't necessarily say that, because I think it's hard with our type of offense, with how much moving we do with shifts, motions, and where he's lining up. Like, he's not always in line. He'll be flexed. He'll be in the backfield. So I think they have a lot more awareness of him, I think it's fair to say, and he's deserved that just because of how good of a playmaker he is. But I mean, I think they try to match up, but it's just hard with how much moving and grooving we do, with how many different personnels we get to on each drive. So it's very challenging, and I think that's part of the reason why we've been so successful this year on offense. So we're just looking forward to keep building on that.
Drew, it was another game where Amari wasn't really involved in the pass game. What's going on with that, and how are you looking to develop that connection with him?
Yeah, I mean, we had a couple shots downfield, but we can't really force it downfield when you're double covered. So we're trying to scheme him open, because we know how big of an explosive threat he is to us. And we're trying to get him the ball in so many different ways, like the reverse today. So we're trying to get him involved. Unfortunately, the defense is kind of just taking it away at some point. But eventually, we're going to get him going, because I have full confidence in Amari and his talent and his work ethic, and the amount of work he's put in throughout the entire offseason and season. So I mean, I definitely want to get him involved in our game plan as much as we can, for sure.
Thanks, Drew.
Drew, late in the game, we saw quite a bit of Corey Smith. What do you see from him, and how far do you think he can continue to develop?
I mean, Corey's one of the most impressive young guys I've seen. I mean, obviously, we don't really get to see him on Saturdays just because of the backfield we already have in front of him with Nick and Katron. But, I mean, Corey and Q, have a lot of twitch to them, a lot of just natural ability overall. But the way, obviously you guys don't get to see it, but in practice, Corey makes a lot of guys miss. The first guy's usually not tackling him. He's going to make a guy miss, and he has the home run speed too. He's shown it off so many different ways since he stepped on campus. And I think the biggest thing I've seen from Corey is the last three or 4 weeks, he's been practicing at a very high level. I think that's just him getting used to college, getting used to our playbook. So he has a bright future ahead of him, and really a lot of other young guys in that class do as well.
Drew, a lot of guys walked off the field today with smiles on their faces after a win. Obviously last week was tough week of practice. You guys are kind of refocused now and kind of ready to finish this season. Talk about the focus on finishing the season out.
Yeah, I mean, I think We got back to our fundamentals and basics this week offensively, and I mean we were very close last week. Obviously, that's in the past. There's nothing we can do about it. Can't dwell on it. And as soon as it got to Sunday night, we flushed it because we knew West Virginia was, or not West Virginia. Yeah, that's bad. That's bad. Washington is a very talented team, very good schematically. And I think we had a really good week of prep. It was one of our best weeks of prep overall, and I think that's kind of been the theme as an offense this year. Like I think each week throughout the season, we've had a better and better practice Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday and Friday. Like I think we're really doing a good job of stacking practices. And I think that showed up today, so we just got to keep building on that. Going through the rest of the season.
How important was a fast start today?
Very important. Defense did a great job. Obviously, they had the missed field goal, and then us going down and capitalizing on that right away. And then, obviously, Jay Reed's turnover, being able to take that turnover and turn it into 7 points is huge. And just really going down in the first half and scoring on all 4 drives that we had is always going to be really good for us, just because we'll be able to play ahead in the game, control the ball, and then defensively when we get that 2-score lead, like you saw today, Abdul had 2 sacks. We're able to let those guys loose on the defensive side of the ball, play aggressive. So that's obviously a huge credit to really the whole team. I think we played really good complementary football throughout the game today, and it showed up in the first half for sure.
Why were you so good personally on
Drew, what's your favorite post-win sweet treat?
You said
third downs? You completed 6 passes, 6 of 6, and
yeah.
threw a touchdown on third downs.
I mean, I think the biggest thing is it was third and manageable the whole game. I don't know what the longest distance we had, probably 8 or 9 yards, and arguably could have been a complete pass to Ty Warren that they called incomplete. But other than that, I think we had a really good third down game plan. It comes down to game planning at first. O-line did a great job of protecting up front just because they did so many different stunts and fronts up front on third down. And then it came down to our execution. We always put a huge emphasis on third down, specifically on Wednesdays, because we know how important it is to stay on the field and be able to get into a rhythm. And, converting those third downs led to getting more guys involved in the game plan. So that was a huge emphasis for us this week, because last week we didn't have a great outing in third down. But I think it came down to we were staying ahead of schedule, and we were playing super aggressive on third down because we were in those 3rd and 4 to 6 range where we can be a little bit more aggressive.
Thank you.
Yep.